Hello, this is Brenda Jean Power. So I'm doing something kind of unique, and that is I'm trying to figure out how to go on TikTok. Now, I had it just for a second, then I screwed up because, well, let's put it this way. I pushed the wrong button. And I'm now trying to figure out how to do it again. So here we go. Oops, that's wrong too. Oh, this is really funny as heck. Okay, so bear with me. You know, one of the things you're learning is if you allow yourself to understand your mistakes instead of doing it the old-fashioned way where you have to be so upset by them and that it controls your every movement. Most people need to wake up to that they're automatic responses. You really do. And I'm going to tell you why. So let's start this right. Hello, I am Brenda Jean Power. I'm from the Medicine Woman Soultion show, and your soul always has a solution. We'll be doing readings in just a few minutes. And let's see. So I woke up about 3 a.m. and had to write down the information. Now, there are strong information coming onto the planet, depending on what level of consciousness or how your nerves are programmed. You will be able to download new information, or it could be rocky, it could be easy, however it is. For me, it's like I wake up and I hear like details, certain codes that are coming in. It's like, ooh, I can hear them. And so I got up, and they like to give me show ideas, help my students grow a little bit more. And so to me, that's very exciting. Now, I'm not sure exactly at this point how to eat. Oh, good Lord. I don't know how to allow comments, okay. So notice the reaction. Is it just because I'm on the show? No, I don't have to throw down or get rid of or change the, what do you call it? The program. Nope, that is not going to work either. This was hilarious. How many takes does it really have to take? Now, when I do my shows and other stuff, it's one take only. This just makes me laugh because it's like, this is all new. You have to make sure that it's not on 15 seconds or 3 minutes. Or what if it's only on 60 seconds? Is that 60 seconds or is that 60 minutes? I don't think I have a 1 hour timer here. Does anybody know how to do that one? Well, I don't think I will be working with going live today because I can't find this particular, oh, nope. Well, that's just hilarious. I think I might have to do my own regular show without TikTok. I mean, I am not sure how to get more than an hour or more than 3 minutes, and it does not seem to allow me. I want to see other readers do it here. And I push this little plus button. No, it does not work. I can upload. What good is that? Templates? No. All right, thought I had figured it out, but honestly, no, I have not. Nancy, it's all confusing, but at the same time, I don't have to lose my shit because I don't need to go in that automatic response. You can wake up from that automatic response. And if I'm going to do this, I may as well just take my phone and get onto the right thing so I can actually see you guys write to me, or just put down the phone. Now I've confused myself. Algorithms, 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 and you know them. You know them well. You know them by what? Oh, synchronicity before computers causes like, oh my gosh, all right, I'm thinking this, I'm focusing on this, I have a desire for this. When you start to learn to communicate with your spiritual part of yourself, which is more the right brain, and then it communicates with the left. So you have this beautiful algorithm between your right and your left. and you have this wonderful connection with spirit. And all of a sudden you will be able to see things that people can't. So it's like, oh, you can see how 1 + 1 = 2, but you also can see how 2 + 2 = 5. There's a whole nother story going on. And you're able to do it. And you can see the synchronicities. You can see how everything lines up. Then you learn the language. You start building a file system and the language that you have with this particular energy field. And then all of a sudden synchronicities, and it starts to always work out to your favor. You get to see this. So along comes computers and the algorithms with that. Okay, the algorithms in you. Now this is what I want you to understand when it comes to false realities. You got this? Your answer to your life is right underneath your nose. Okay, it's right underneath your nose. And when you allow yourself to begin to see this, let me look here. Okay, so the information that came through was, oh, look at Google, look at TikTok, look at Facebook, look, ads. What do you see? The more you look up, the more you will be in sync with them. Oh my goodness, I never thought of that. And it's brilliant to some degree because it teaches you how to use the quantum field for yourself in spiritual mindset versus just ego mindset. So if you're on a particular social media and it's more geared to bring you what you like, and if you have a phobia and you're looking stuff up, you're going to get more of that. And if you are having any type of mental or emotional issues that feed like eating disorders and things, and you look stuff up, you're going to gear more towards that. So it's like, is it wrong? Well, you do it all the time without computers. You do it all the time. You understand? When you're in your spiritual mindset and you begin to learn that communication with spirit, you'll see anything and all things are about alignment with where you're going. If you are thinking, oh my God, I really hate this, then you are going to be aligned to see more of what you hate. And then if you get wrapped up in that and you start to know, see, it's in the belief. So 1, you have to accept. 2, you have to believe. Take a moment. I believe he's hurting my feelings. I believe it. I have proof. Which mindset do you think I'm in? What happens when you don't understand your states of mind, and when your mind is all clouded with these chemical peptides that are unhealthy? There's good ones and there's unhealthy ones. One will take the power away, the one will increase your power. You're yin and yang. But it's in the power of belief. And you can turn around and get into such high beta thinking. Now, beta is thinking right this, but when I'm like, oh my God, and you're using those negative chemical peptides, what they do is they shift your brain into high beta. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be able to be algorithmed to all of your fears. And if fear takes over, it's going to start giving you false meaning and false reality. So the more that you're starting to investigate and you're like, oh, I want to know if this is true. Oh, I think that might be true. Now, guess what happens? You will line up to find more of that proof. So I had this guy that really couldn't stand me. He didn't know me. He just knows his wife should not be in spirituality because it makes her stupid. And it's like, I'm like, okay. And then she comes, she says, oh, I can't pay you. I have to, he ripped up the check. So you just, you're just going to have to deal with no money. Okay. And then he blames you because my electric bill's up. And I go, okay. And we define everything. So when I told her to bring in more light, she had gone to the only definition she knew, and that was to turn on the lights. Even though I may have given her an example that you just kind of imagine light coming in, you can even use a flashlight in certain areas of your body, especially when you take that light and fract it through a crystal. It will change the things in your body. And so anyway, I was like, what? So he demanded that I confront him. And it was felt like the Spanish Inquisition. So past life experience. There was emotions. Did I know it? Not at the time. I just know, okay, fine. I've got nothing to hide. I go there and he had reams of paper. And I'm looking at him like, what? And he was telling me that I was this witch. And I'm like, well, I got nothing against witches, but let me see. If you look, there's no picture. It doesn't even tell you where it's from. It just has my first name. Do you know how many Brendas there are in the world? Oh, he was getting mad. And then all of a sudden I'm like, do you know that if you look up everything bad, you'll find it? But if you also look up everything good, you'll find it. Did you look up anything good? Because I see only thing bad there, and half of that stuff I don't even think's me. He says, well, this is where you were begging for money. It was on page. I says, page what? Not page 1, was it? You had to go look for it because that's not what I stood for. And he tried for an hour and a half. When I got up, I says, it's not a pleasure to meet you. I says, I did what you asked. I'm proud that you're protecting your wife. But give her some breathing room to grow. And yes, she may need some protection, but have a little faith in her too. I said, I hope we don't ever meet again. And then I just walked out. Now, while I'm sitting there, my whole physiology, I'm drying up, my lips are stuck. I couldn't talk. My whole body is scared crapless. And yet at the same time, I'm like, why is this happening? You have algorithms. When people come to me, did they cheat on me? Did they cheat on me? Well, guess what? That energy that you're giving off, you're going to eventually get your proof. Because when you don't understand about energy and how it moves you, you'll never understand that awakening. I have seen TV commercials that emotionally move me, and that was what they were intending. Have you ever seen any ad for anything that really was about the food or about the beer or about the car? It's always about some type of emotion. Hey, if you get drunk enough, you can get yourself a good one. Or, hey, emotionally move you. We are emotional beings, and we can mess with people by the mental way we talk. Just ask a gaslighter. I want you to wake up. I want you to get into your spiritual mindset. I want you to understand the difference between those two mindsets, ego mindset and spiritual mindset. Because you have no idea or know when. If you're just in one state of mind, you won't know when you're creating false meaning. And you won't know when you're creating down a trajectory of false reality. When I started waking up to this, I thought, oh my God. And I was totally moved by how words are being said. I mean, I had this person that hated me and come up with a smile, and the way, the intention, I could feel it. That's when I started noticing there was a particular outcome, and she was going to change my behavior before I could change hers. And it wasn't me that wanted to sit there and hurt and change people, because I respected where the people were. I kept watching this behavior, and it's like, I'm falling for it without knowing it. And I kept looking, how am I falling for this? It was the emotion. And it hit me. Okay, next time that she comes around, I'm going to notice the first thing. I mean, the hairs in the back of my head felt like they was stood up. That must mean I'm scared, I'm nervous or something. And then I started, and everybody knows their anxiety. Oh, I can feel that. Oh, I can feel my depression. You're starting to really get this. They are not meant to own you. Like depression is you just tired of playing the same avatar over and over. And not that it's this avatar, it's the situation out here, how the environment forces you, sends that energy that you have to behave. Okay? But it's not true. If you can take and the emotional end result that's magnetic, that draws it in, And it affects the way you think, whether it's positive or negative. And even if you're thinking positive and you have a negative root, you're still bringing that shit in. That needs to have a spiritual investigation. Get it tracked, get it healed out, because you're looking for something very specific, a feeling. And I'm not always talking about, yay, to, oh, it could be just completely indifferent. I can't be bothered. But you're also looking deeper. The good girl syndrome. You're doing the right thing. But at the same time, usually when you really get there, it's because there was that moment of a curse. You better behave or else. That energy would just fly off of people. And if they weren't going to get that energy to fly off them, they were going to physically move to make that happen, which made everything more intense. Now your body, it's geared to fight, flight, freeze. Okay, yeah, maybe some fornicating there. Just got to release somewhere, right? But then most times it's you almost have a trauma response as the other one. You don't have to be the victim archetype anymore. You don't have to be the martyr archetype anymore. We are moving to this new level of consciousness that's already in place, but you have to wake up from these archetypes and the way the energy moves in and out. Now, the only way that I've really noticed is that I've seen healers. That's great. But you haven't moved your consciousness. You haven't waken up to the consciousness. If you're still judging, you haven't woke up. You need to move to discernment. And there is ways that you can do it. There is definitely ways you can do it. Name that depression. So my fear, I love you, sister, that's passed, but my fear's name's Benita. So all of a sudden I'll start to get paranoid. All right, Benita. Or I start to feel fearful. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I'll catch the fact that I'm talking in my head. I'm like, Benita. And it's so funny because in real life, she would call me up and we would have a conversation. And all of a sudden she would get into that paranoid state. And she would go into that fear. Oh, you better get on those internets. You're going to get, everybody's going to come in with a butcher knife or a gun. Or I'm like, what? What? And she would just, and the energy, and I could never understand it. And until I hit me spiritually, I got it. My ex would always look at me, I come walking out of the room. He'd like, oh, talking to your sister again? What? Well, it's quite obvious. I'm like, yeah, oh my God, yes, I got to come back down to earth. I don't even know where I'm at. Is my name even? And then I started to realize, my name Brenda? Oh, hell no. I was actually being Benita. I was like, what? And then I started to use the, hey, I'm going to call myself back home, give myself permission to be me, because when that energy would just come at me. Now you got to remember my sister, yeah, she liked a little weed here and there, and let's say all the time. And boy, she was older than me, so she made me really think that she was top dog and had all the answers, until I started to realize, hold on, I love her, but I don't have to be her. I love her and I don't have to, because I mean, it was berating, it was pushing. One of the things that we grew up with, and that was the thing, I became an intolerance to that. So when I got married and when my husband was done, I'm like, back off, I can't tolerate. And then I created a repulsion. I had to heal that one. And I got a lot of healing tools out of this. Thanks. Same time, you need to wake up the consciousness. And once you start to get into your higher conscious field, and you start to realize that there is an ego mindset and a spiritual mindset, one is in hell and one is in heaven, and and then you have personalities. You mean there's more than one of me? Yeah, I go to the store, I'm a whole different person. I haven't given her a name. She always often confuses me. I'm thinking, why did you say that? Why are you acting that? But there's nothing wrong with it, except for the fact is that we get so caught up and lost in our own beliefs, our own personalities, our own stories, and we borrow everybody's. Oh, energetically, we borrow everybody's, and we think that they're ours. And sometimes they're just not. So think about the algorithms. You really have to define when you're looking at the synchronicities of life, or are you looking at your human made self, these reflections, these fears, these emotions. And one thing I've learned is that your cell has receptors on it. And there's an actual key that you would take. And these is information substances. This is like everything to do with the receptor. This is like fear, locks it in and you start to vibrate to fear. Now, if you're consciously vibrating to fear, you know what anxiety feels like. You know what paranoia, you may not even know. I'm not paranoid. You take offense. But did I leave the stove on? Oh my God, my house is going to burn down. Oh God, self-conscious. They're seeing me. Do I got a good bra on today? You have the extremes, or you have one side versus the other. I want you to come back to the now. I want you to be able to begin to understand there's this option and this option. Now, when I said first and second and third, these are options about resolving things in life. It is not about, I'm going to come first in my life in ego mindset. You're going to come back, probably across as a douchebag, you know? But if you realize that in spirituality, I'm going to put myself first because I need to put the oxygen mask on in order to be able to live and breathe and exist and thrive with other people. Second option. Yes, I'm going to put everybody first. And then you end up bringing people in your life that put you second best. They love their car. They love their ex. They love their, you're just an it. You're on my radar. We're lost. We're bad. No, you're not even. No. You know the feeling of what second best is. And you keep reliving that second best. But that is where you're meant to say, oh, hold on. The key is in this cell receptor. And it says, I know what second best is. And I accept this and I believe this and it's hell and it won't stop. But if you can get into the feels, not just the talking, but the feels, this is what's called hell. Now, OMG to hope therapy to EFT, you have to build that relationship of value. The only way that I know how to do it is you learn how to. And I repeat, you learn how to. Learn how to do what? Measure. You need parameters, okay? So eventually when you heal it out, you're taking the key out, what happens to the cell? Your cells need emotion to vibrate you in and out of existence. Do you want to choose happy, joyful, fear? You get to play with the field of emotions. But you get to change, you get to decide, and when you start to get that veil lifting up, I don't just want you to track and I just heal. I want you to get it. It's the getting it that causes you to have parameters. And then you get to, and you're like, hold on. And you get to train that brain. Like, why would they wake me up at 3 a.m? Because it was a piece of juicy information. It was like, oh yeah. And the other day I woke up to the schematics of my spine. What? Yeah. Don't trust your memory like you're going to remember when you get up, because shit, you won't. Okay. So I've dedicated myself to taking that moment when that inspiration comes in and write it down. because you are a program. You're 90% of your thoughts you were the day before. And if you don't learn to tap into that beauty of yourself, your higher consciousness of yourself, you will never develop the language. And the language you need to do is a form of light language. But the language that you need with yourself, you have to develop it like you would develop weights. It takes dedication and time. But if it excites you, and again, you cannot blame people. When you start to notice where you hid your happiness, where'd my happiness go? Usually we hide them behind fear, or we hide them so nobody can find them. The only problem is we have what's called a strategy of life. In order to get your happiness, you got to go through a certain amount of shit in hell. And I'm saying, let's heal that out. Let's heal that out. Because when you do, you can skip all the shit, go right to happiness. And when you start to understand that you get 400 billions of information from the environment, which affects your DNA, causes the DNA expression. So the environment, but your inner world creates the outer environment based on all of the files that are written in the inner environment. And then how you react to the outside, because it's a stimulus and it's subjective reality, and it goes through 400 billion bits of information. You can only grab 2,000 to observe. What are you going to observe? What'd you miss? What did you focus on? Did you ask for more hell? Did you get that tracking number for hell? How about ripping that up and start going for your joys? And the only way you really can do that is you have to dismantle the belief, the feels. Oh, I don't. Because when people get into what's called hope therapy, and they're in there, and I'll say, oh, there it is. I know you're looking right at it. How about staring it down now? They're like, oh, bitch, I do see it. And as you're sitting in hope therapy, and I don't have to say nothing, your body's doing all the work. It may take a little longer, but all of a sudden you're like, where'd it go? The question is that, do you want it? Now, what makes the difference to what she just said? It sounds like it's contradictory. Hope therapy, you're using yourself as the tool. It already knows how to heal. And you can sit in your hells and you can think. The difference is you're not firing and wiring. You're already looking at the fired and wired, and you are unwiring it. You're unfiring it. You're putting that shit to bed. You're resolving it out. You're closing it out. You don't have to do this shit anymore. And then when you start to change that level of consciousness, you'll wake up. You have this language with yourself. You may not have that same language with other people, but that's okay. You'll get there. You don't have to do it alone anymore. You start attracting those like-minded people in. And slowly, you'll start to create a new personality that will support a new personal reality. And your old personality, you can say bye-bye. Because you took your life force out of it. You created closure to it. You're allowing yourself another adventure. And just instead of having to go out on an emotional quest to go find that shit and what's it about and track it the hard way, you do it every day. The problem is if you do it in ego, your life could be a shit show and you would not know it. I have so many people come to me, oh, my life's great. I have anxiety 24/7. Wait a minute, did you just say your life's great? And yet you are experiencing that? Okay, let's back this up. And I want you to notice that you think that that's joy. Sweetheart, you begin to heal that, create those closures, you're going to know what joy is. And when you start to notice what joy is versus what it wasn't, because it's a parameter, you're like, I ain't going back there. You can't make me. And all of a sudden, you'll start to fight to live and thrive. And then all of a sudden, you're like, give me a tool. I ain't taking this shit. I can feel it. And all of a sudden, you learned how to release. You don't just have to surrender. Okay, fine, beat me up. No. Yeah, you're using the tool. And all of a sudden it just starts to close and release for itself. And if you can begin to wake up to witness, a quantum witness on a spiritual level, you're like, holy moly. And if you can carry that new frequency of feels that, oh my God, that's so awesome. And your brain's going to go, wait, what? Because your brain hallucinates reality for you. It sits in there, your brain sits in there in the dark, waiting for information to get, it's like, hello, what can you feed me today? More help? Okay. Then you give it a piece of food that's nourishing. Oh, that was exciting, says the brain. And the brain goes, can I have more? And you say yes. And all of a sudden the brain, instead of just predicting and doing the next best guess, oh, look over there. Oh my God, it's a snake. And then, oh wait, no, that's just a piece of string. But if you begin to notice, like the first time I had a phone, I'm like, these buttons do what? You see me in TikTok. Okay, but I don't have to do that. I can go, thank you, Spirit. Show me the third option with this because I know there's an answer. And your brain's going, oh, this is fun. And it will be geared to investigate. It'll be geared to resolve. And it's geared to wonder if I do this and that. And it's going to get smarter, spiritually smarter. And when you begin to look at things, you won't have to get lost. You don't have to do repeats. Most of your definitions of emotions are based on what you grew up with. And those are based on what they grew up with. And those paradigms are changing. You don't actually have to do that anymore. You can take and define it. And then once you understand there's a universal definition, but then you're like, hold on. I'm going to show you how I believe it. I'm going to tell you how I know, and now you're going to use your intuition to dive into ego's intuition and use a tool. Girl, you are going to wake your ass up. But then you'll go back to sleep until you realize, which one do you like? Which one do you want? And when your brain says, hold on, I'm going to, there it is. And then all of a sudden your brain's excited because it's getting new information. And it's like, well, we don't have to think that way with that old personality anymore. Ooh, this is exciting. And when you have that soul urge, I know some of you have it. All of a sudden you're like, I'm in hell. Well, this is what's called life. I'm happy. I'm in hell. And all of a sudden your soul goes, hey, look over here. And all of a sudden the hell that comes out of that was controlling you. You couldn't stand up to it before. You're like, yeah. Just a minute. I got it. Shut up. You have the strength that you didn't know you had. Move out of the way. You're no longer algorithm to that. It's called lining up to your vortex. All of a sudden you're going to learn. And you're like, that's what I want. That end game, that feeling that feels good. Not one that I had to be in hell with. What is going on here? Y'all stop sending me. Turn those off. You can turn off programs that don't have to sit there and say, hello, look at me now. No, you can say, get out of the way. I've got work to do. And then you're going to see your tenacity. And you're going to see that you have this part of yourself that has a little bit of determination. I can't remember. There's another D word I want. But anyway, I want y'all to wake up. I want you to have a happy life like I got. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. And when you're ready, nothing's going to stop you. Nothing. So it's good to see all you beautiful people. Look at all of you. Yes. Hello. You are awesome. Somebody said, Ah, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So you're downloading all the time. And a lot of you are at different levels, but because I can see where I was 6 months ago, I can see where other people are now. And it's called a wave. You know how when you go into a stadium and you're at a football game, if you're Australia footy, all of a sudden you're like, yay! And then all of a sudden you stand up and then you sit down and the person stands up and then you see this wave. Well, that's how we're waking up, because I can look and I can see where people are at. And if you can do where you've been, because you can see where you were and you see how others are coming, you can also train yourself to say, help me see the things I can't see. Now, that's an exciting part. And when you do, you truly are using your intuition with your higher self, not your ego shit. Okay? And what's going to happen is you are going to go, I can learn this shit on a whisper. Instead of that flying bitch slap, okay, I'll take it. And you'll find out it's free. Or you got to put some investment in it because you know you're worth it. Do it. Get those steps it takes to climb out of that pit of hell. I know you can do it. Oh, that would be so awesome, Lorraine. Yeah, she says, asking Spirit to meet you in person one day. You know I'm going to start traveling whenever this is over with, and who knows? Because me and my husband were talking, we could fly over to United States, land in California, and take and get a, what do you call it, an RV, and then start doing living room tours or something where we come into your hometown and you have, like, whether it's in the living room or you rented a room, and then, do events, speaker events, small cost, maybe boot camp one weekend, spiritual boot camp. Yeah, I thought about this. And I think Jen's here too. Yes. And the thing is that we're thinking about traveling, taking several months just to go through. Now we got to figure out what to do with our baby birds, but other than that, I sure Spirit will figure it out. It'd be all good. But people say, well, you can't do spiritual boot camp. And I'll say, yes, you can. Because if I can get you to measure, to wake up to the feeling and the difference and chase these little key things, and especially with the energy flow that I'm on, it's not me, it's the energy my nerves can carry. It's this bandwidth, it is this energy, and it literally can cause you to wake up. I'm learning how to be myself and beam, and then those that want to wake up can get into that field. Do you ever go into a healing circle, they call it? And that energy is so high. And you're like, oh my God, this is so cool. And you go home and everybody in the room is like going, what's for supper? And you're like, screw that. Why are you so happy? And you try to tell them, they're like, well, I had a bad day. Come down to my level. You're like, but when you learn to hold that energy field, it changes everything. Burning Man. Yeah, I heard some adventures about Burning Man. But we're ready. We're ready to really make a difference in the world. And you can. It is, I don't know how to explain it. You guys are beautiful. And I love when I see all of a sudden you're like, oh my God. And all of a sudden your brain and your body and every part of you is like, oh. It's like you take a breath, a spiritual breath. And I see your spiritual nervous system kicking in and your spiritual protection already taking place. And you're like, hold on, do I really need to be in fear? And I'll say, no, you can wake up happy. I'm curious, so anybody out there, if your name is Benita, I wasn't insulting you, understand I had somebody that was in my life that demonstrated that particular emotions and that I grew up with, and I took that on as me. And I thought those were my thoughts, my beliefs. And most of you will find out that you may have to call them, hey, Ma, Dad. The rage that I had growing up. Yeah, I named it Daddy. Hey, Daddy, what are you doing here? I mean, it was like, I would listen to the content. You don't realize that sits there. I have a blocker, what's like, it's called I want to say man-made curse. I don't want to say man-made, human-made curse. But people get confused about curses, and I've been breaking them down. But when you have a curse where you're so scared, it's a traumatized curse, you can't cross that invisible line if you wanted to. You're like, no. There's lots of different avenues, and Spirit says, just shut up. I'm glad. I'm so, I'm so curious about you, Lorraine. You said that you weighed so much weight, and then you look marvelous, girl. Simply marvelous. Curious of how you did it. Oh, yeah, I've got to be able to. Yes. So if you're new, we do 2 minutes right off the bat. I got to get on the right page. I cannot. I thought I was going to be able to do this TikTok thing, but I can't figure it out. So we will go on to the next thing. And apparently not that, or that, or that. Oh, Brenda, stop it. Be in alignment. Give me the third option, Spirit. Oh, yes. Methinks I found my way home. Hello, pretty. I don't know why. That just reminded me of Wizard of Oz. Somebody had a Wizard of Oz story or what? I think so. Okay. Wait, that's whatever. La 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 la. Get out of that. Go over there. Open this. Tra la la la. Okay. Ah! Wait. I scared myself. Ooh, I got some codes today. Excellent. Excellent. And you'll know you really get codes because you'll start to wake up in such a way that allows you to, what do you want to call it? Allows you to begin to feel and think differently, and you'll be able to hear different little things. See, I did my job today. Jennifer Margaret says, you are freaking hilarious. Ha 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 ha. Yes, that's what we want. Okay. Now I've got that. I feel slow and I feel fast. So the first up on the docket is Miss April Lynn. Second is Miss Jennifer Toffel. So April, and I got to get the right button. Don't touch the button. A lot of cartoons, my youth. Don't touch the button, not the red one. Who can guess what that one came from? Don't ever touch the red one. Oh, let's see. There you are. Okay. Yep. I just got to find the right inbox thing to find you, Miss April. There you are. Gotcha. Okay. So Facebook's done something to my business page again. I still can't get clients. They messed it up. So people coming to me privately, thank goodness, and I have to work on it that way. But then when I go to like copy and paste, it won't send. And finally I have to hit it like 3 or 4 times, not on the computer, but on my keyboard, and all of a sudden it'll go. And I'm like, what? And then I couldn't even get any mail today. And there was like 5 messages, and I'm like, oh God, I hope it's nothing important. A little Daffy Duck here and there. Don't touch the red one. It was the one where it was the automated house, and I can't remember, this button made it lift up and go up and down, and the red one, I can't remember what it did, made it blow up or made it rise sky high. It was funny. And it's so funny because I love Daffy Duck, but he's a little angry dude, you know? And when Jennifer and I were talking one time, it was like, Eeyore, you know, he's the depression dude. And it's like, wow, I never really noticed the characters before had such personalities. And I'm like, whoa. Yeah, I was an angry little child. Yes. And then I just put something on my wall. There, you know. Oh, wait, whoa. Is that Ashley? Wait, did I give you a reading before? I just saw that. All right, did you guys, because you can get on the waiting list and you'll be guaranteed to get one. Okay, all right. Ashley, did I give you one before? Because I got to make sure now that you may have to end up waiting because I already sent the link. April, did it not go through? Or are you not wanting to come on? Where's she at? What does she say? She says she's here because I can do it like this. I can so do it like this. And Angel, are you new? You look like you're new too. Because if you are, I gotta think about it. Because if you, let me know. Because if you are, then you get 2 minutes, not one. That's exciting when you don't get one. You get two. All right. Miss April has not looked at it, so I will take, Ashley, you look like you're new. So I'm just going to do that 2 minutes. All right, Miss Ashley. Here we go. They're going right to phobia. Now, the thing about a phobia, it's not about what you fear as much as when you look at that fear, they said that you don't like the sound of something. There's a certain pitch. And I'm saying, what else? And they said, well, when the pitch happens, there's a certain intensity with that pitch. And I said, okay, does that mean that something bad's going to happen? They said, yes. And then if it's the duration, so if somebody's doing it for long periods of time, oh my God. And I said, what else? And they said that you go hiding. In the fight, flight, freeze, you go hiding. And then all of a sudden, over time, as you age, you create an intolerance. You're like, I just can't tolerate anymore. And then I'm looking at your fractured self. And this is part of you that's standing behind you. And it said, this makes me readjust. If it's gaslighting, if it's bitching, it's this, it forces me to readjust. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to do it anymore. But the problem is it's called an addiction to a behavior. It's part of your strategy. It's part of your how you do things. It is, you know, so you'd have to heal it out. And they said that there's also, I don't want to heal it out. And I said, why? And they said, because I'm petrified. I said, so is that what you want to heal first? And they said, well, sorta. And they said, so they're showing me that in your thoracic around T8, you have a story. And some of the story has to do with it. You're stuck in the arrested development and you don't even know that you're stuck there. And they said that you like to silently brood as your coping tool when you were younger. And I says, well, tell me when this story started about 2 years old. When did the silent brooding start 2 years old? And I said, so basically you're holding on to the thing that you don't ever want to happen again. Yes. And because of that, you don't know how to change to move out of it. And they said, yes. Hopefully that makes sense. And here comes Miss White Sunflower. Ever since I seen this woman, she has always reminded me of the sunflower. And then I happened to see a white sunflower. And by God, I said, that is April. That is April. No doubts about it. And it looks like it's stuck. Brenda, in classes back in the day, who would be without an issue? The purchase, this phase sticks with me, the healing. Now, who would you be? Yeah, who would you be without this shit? Hi, there's my white flower. Hi, darling.
Hello.
So
Yeah. My computer just demonstrated what I'm going through.
Okay, now would you like to be so kind to
Okay.
set it up a little?
So normally when I have the Zoom, it goes straight to the Zoom and I can log into Zoom. It automatically goes. Well, this time it didn't log into Zoom and wanted a password or passcode or whatever. So then I hit log in with Facebook. And then, so I did that. And so then it came up, and then I'm sitting there and it said, well, host will let you in. And then it went back out and said connecting. And then it said unconnected. And it said connecting and unconnecting. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm finally there. When I typed in my little message, I feel like one side of me is over here and one side of me is over here. And I'm trying to, and then I feel like I'm going in a loop. It's back with working. Okay, Mike. Okay. I thought it was it started thinking again, and I'm like, oh, is it gonna not? So, okay. Searching for a new job at the hotel. Things are going good at the hotel. I'm getting more hours. Okay. So a coworker, he became my supervisor. He took the position. They opened this position back up. So now we have a supervisor for the restaurant area. So, and he really wants me to stay. And then she's like, well, my assistant manager, oh, you're good, you're good. And, I started thinking about going ahead and staying at the hotel. My shoulder that I had rotator cuff surgery started hurting like I majorly pulled something. Granted, I worked 5 days in a row and I physically haven't done that in over a year and a half.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, well, it's the 5 days. And then when I trained my thinking that to go do something else, and then I kept seeing memes or memes, whatever, that new beginnings, out with the old, in with the new. And then I saw peacocks today, and then I went to a job, but I didn't have any feelings. I was like, well, if it happens, it happens. So then I thought, okay, well, that's a good attitude. But then it's like, I'm like, I don't really care if I get it, and I really don't care if I do get it. I'm just kind of like, and then I'm like, wait, I'm not in my feels because I'm not feeling anything. So I'm just kind of like going in a loop, and then I'm on this side, then I'm on that side. So I just went out. Throw me a rope.
You are at the stage finally to allow yourself to realize I've had enough. And most people need to begin to recognize this beauty that you just shown them, because you're awake enough that says, I can't do this anymore. It isn't, oh, I just can't do this anymore and go back in. You know that pull, that urge that says, I'm done. So, and I said, yes, you are definitely doing a revolution around in your Ferris wheel. The thing is what it's called is readjust. You were taught to readjust. Now I'm going to ask Spirit, are you readjusting because you wanted to readjust, or is it because it was a chemical peptide dump? Okay, there's a difference between whether it is forced or if it's dump. Now they said this dump has to do with your physical body, and there's muddled, and it's about the instability. So I said, can you tell me how much, is it a combination of one emotion? And they said, well, yes, sort of. So in the cranial of the fifth, the C5, they said there's a certain amount of self-abuse you do. And I said, okay, how does she abuse herself? Well, I have to behave that way. I've got to do this. So instead of choosing to say, this is what I want to do, you hear people say that you have to do it. The government, your stomach, your rent, it's like, you have to do it. And you're like, fine, I'll put up with it. I'll do it. So there's a certain amount of convincing we do to ourselves. Okay. Now here's the thing about your shoulder. It's hell no, I won't go. It's the joint. It's like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. It just started like thumping.
Because the messenger of the body is saying, yeah, listen up. So it says, hell no, I won't go. They are at the point where this is up, with which I no longer put. And that's what you did. Listen to that. I will no longer put up with this. You are a good girl. You do the right thing. Now understand, those things aren't wrong. but you've had to convince yourself you are going against your own will. Okay. Instead of willfully and joyfully, like every morning I get up to my job, I am willful and joyful of doing this because this is what I want. You're not connected to what you're doing. And your will is saying, why are you doing this? So this is why it becomes a form of self-abuse. Okay. So you don't want to put up with it any longer. Now it sounded like, oh, such a great idea. Yes, I'll take into this position at the hotel, blah, blah, blah. So you're doing what you know. But you don't really know who you are. And that is part of that transitional adventure that you're doing, because you know you want more than that. And you're like, okay, well, right now, the option of being a healer, I would need, well, Brenda's taking her lovely time, blah, blah, blah. And, or I need to do this. I'm over here looking at this healer and I'm, oh, that's a little expensive. I don't know if I can do that either, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing's about money issues. And so what happens is fear comes in. Okay. So your shoulder on your left, or yes, on your left, your triple warmer goes through there. So you have this that comes up around, it goes through here, but you also have, and it says that there's instability. So you're looking for, out of the 6 S's, you're looking for stableness. Okay. But you have an OMG that there's guilt tripping that was putting you into a position that you didn't want to do. So you have keywords, emotions from guilt tripping that control your every movement, and you don't even know you're doing it, but you can be aware that you see it, but all of a sudden you're like a robot and you don't realize it. And then you tell yourself excuses and reasons why you have to do things. And you lose yourself one more time. Does this make sense?
Oh, yeah. You're raised with, you take any job. When you need money, you take any job, no matter you like it or not.
Exactly.
So if you turn something down, then that's bad. And I've had 2 jobs that I did turn down because the energy wasn't right. So I feel that my body is feeling guilt from doing that. But me, I feel like I'm calm. But I know my body is doing something. So I guess maybe that's why I feel separated, because my mind feels this way and my body feels another way.
Yes, it's called conflict. When you're doing a changing of a belief under transition, and you're in a but state, sometimes you can't understand what's really happening. And this is where it gets confusing. But what you don't want, a lot of the pain you will hold on to. You don't want it. So then you're going to aim for what you want. You start running over there, but because all of your energy and algorithms are focused on this, it's like you're running backwards to what you want, but you can't help but run towards what your hell is, because you won't let that go. That energy has to have closure so that you can turn around and not believe it any longer, that belief, so that you can grab that energy to go in the right direction. So you got half of you that's like doing this, and the other half is doing this. And the third option is you're trying to get it, but that confusion, because it's not just you involved, it's other people now involved. And you have that belief system that is not even yours, but it's what you were conditioned to. And it came with an emotion. Now, if I ask Spirit, okay, so you had said earlier, without realizing, you said you wanted to do another 8 if you wanted, or
yes.
You have that option.
Yes.
So hold on, Jennifer. I'm going to give her another 8 because she said that she wanted that. I saw that. Okay. The first thing that has to be tackled is that the energy of you don't want to let people down in your household when you were about 1 year old. So that was really important to you. That's what everybody felt like at 1 year old. Is like, you don't let anybody down. This is the way you do it. But you also watched a learned helplessness. You know what I mean? And that is, was there in your household rewards and punishment? If whoever was in charge, if they didn't get their way, there was some form of punishment.
The only thing that's coming to my mind is that my dad, pretty much my dad was like king.
Yep.
So mom did everything to please dad.
There you
We
go.
can't do this. Don't fuss. Don't upset dad. This
Very good.
and everything. And then my mom, which I think it's my mom's energy, because I've had watched her behavior because she was scared. And then one time, this just popped in my head. One time she told me that they got into an argument and she got in the car, or she went for a walk, and she was like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave him. I'm not going to be there. And then she was like, oh, but I left April in the crib. I got to go back. So
She's
she had told me,
petrified.
yeah, because she said that if I would have been with her, she may have left, but I
Right.
wasn't with her at the time, so she had to go back.
So she has this running energy that you can feel, but you can also feel this learned helplessness. And usually with that, this is why yours is just a dump, and your mother's was a curse, because somebody put a curse of punishment. So if you got to understand what a curse really is, it's about a punishment. Okay. And when they are so serious when they speak, it's the energy that flies off of that person. And there's going to be a punishment with it that makes that curse real. Okay. But a curse does not have to be real if you take off how you know that feeling. That's why it's very important. And they said for you, you have been being the program of the conditioned environment. So you're Pavlov. Okay, you're the dog. You're like, okay, it's 2 o'clock. I've got to go into this feeling. It's like, oop, food time. I've got to go in this feeling. Again, your energy is screaming that we have to get rid of guilt tripping, how you believe in it, how much power it has over you. You're meant to hear how people use words. Now, here's where it's going to get tricky for you. But remember, I told you before, you're waking up. And you're waking up at a rate that I'm just so proud of. Because it's just, and all of a sudden, and I will hear it. You'll hit the right words, and you're downloading the code. You can see it. I can see it. And you're waking up in this rate. Now, here's the thing. There's what's called a filter. There's a mental and emotional filter. When we begin to wake up to, oh shit, I hear it. I hear the guilt. I hear the guilt. If it's going to emotionally move you to behave, then that's more of a compulsion, okay? And you need to understand how they're doing it. Sometimes people do it with gaslighting. Some people do it with but it's always boils down to is there's a particular outcome. So who's in charge of this particular outcome for your life? If it is the relationship speaking that you do with people, whether it comes to you or is at them or however you do it, you're moving into discernment. You're beginning to really notice that when people that are in left brain, that are in judgment, it's their way or the highway. And that it's their truth. And again, it is their truth, but it's not your truth. And you will get sucked in what's called living their reality. Now, how do you get out of that? And that is, you're doing it. I'm watching you. You got to notice, what is guilt speaking? Now, if you can feel the guilt, you go heal it. You hear the guilt, you're going to pull those triggers out, but you need to become more aware. There it is. Because when that unconscious starts to show itself, it's no longer fate. You're in charge. And now you're going to the thing that was incompetent about it. You're going to be competent. You're learning. So guilt, it's very much define the word, listen. Don't just take and say, I'm going to listen. I know you do it. Don't do that. Take the third option. Thank you, Spirit, so I can hear it. And it'll be so different because all of a sudden you'll hear it and it'll be like tap, 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 tap. Holy shit, it's going to stand out. Spirit's going to make it stand out. It's not that I'm going to be, I'm going to be looking. I know you're going to do it anytime, April. No. Okay. You already have one, don't you?
I think so. Well, I don't know if it's guilt, but it's seeing something. Some strange energy at the hotel. We have a group of young men that are staying there for like 4 weeks for work. Well, one's already gotten kicked out for being rude and obnoxious to other people. Two of them said something was stolen and they're blaming the hotel. And there's just one of them had like you think of a 5-year-old's room where clothes and toys are everywhere. That's how the hotel room was. And so I saw a picture of it. I'm not directly, because I don't work at the front desk, but I'm seeing it. And then my daughter came over and had dinner with us, and she was talking about she went on a trip with her boyfriend's parents and some other friends. They went to the Smoky Mountains, and she's like, all they do is argue. They're this and that and all this. And I'm just like, and I'm just sitting there, and my mind is like, okay, well, what kind of energy is that? What is she supposed to be seeing? What am I supposed to be seeing? What is this? But
Program.
I'm not affected, and I'm just like, okay, this is really weird. And then I do the heart thing, and I ask a lot of times, because I am becoming sensitive, that when I feel heavy energy, it actually feels like someone is laying their hand on my body, like the pressure of someone leaning on me. And I'm like, okay, get off of me, get off of me. And then when I was at work and my shoulders stopped, I really thought someone came up and like grabbed the back of your arm. Like it was like right here. And then it was like, it felt like a thumb. And I was like, okay, I don't know who's on me. I know the Galactic Federation will come and get you, get off of me. And I was like, no. And then it stopped. And then it started hurting again when I got home. And I was like, okay, what am I thinking? And then I was thinking about staying at the hotel, because I actually like working at the hotel. I do. But I also feel drawn that I need to learn something new. And I am learning stuff new.
Right. I'll give you a few more seconds. So here's the thing. You have to go through all of the excuses and the reasonings that lock you into not wanting to let go of how you knew your truth, that guilt tripping, that conditioning. And when you begin to notice the programs, there will be the separation, and you're only going to be like, oh, no, it's not about, oh, you're in a program. You're such a, no, that's ego. But you're going to feel it. Now, when you said that, you could feel it, just first of all, just get rid of the idea that there's other people out there. I want you to think just energy at this point.
Right.
When all of a sudden I will feel, okay, what mob mentality is, right? It is when, when 9/11 hit, everybody was in that emotional states, all of them. Okay. And it came in like a wave. And there was the gas price issues. And all of a sudden that fear comes in, and it's like, hey, everybody's got to go buy gas because tomorrow it's going to be jacked up to $10. We know it. And when you go shopping, oh, I got to buy everything. And when you begin to learn your boundaries, you're going to walk in and you're like, what do I want? Now, if you go in, you heard the statement, oh, don't ever go to the store when you're hungry, because you'll just buy everything. Well, when I go to the store, I will hear everything. I've thought, somebody goes, oh my God, I gotta so buy this. Oh my God. Oh, I don't have them. Oh, better hide it right here. And all of a sudden you go along, you're like, oh, I really want that. No, I don't want the first one. I want this one. And you put it in the cart and you're walking around. You get home, you're like, why did I buy this? Everything vibrates, has emotions. So when you were at the hotel, they said there was a part of you that knew you did not want to be in this drama talk or this minion aspect. So you're developing your file system, because you are getting very much, and this is how you now use your sensitivity, not as a curse, but as a gift. And you're like, oh, my body is saying, the messenger is saying, yeah, we don't need to do that. Okay. Or, yeah, no, thank you. And you push it off. You can choose. And you may have to do some figure eights with this energy field, because like I'll be driving along, and if I'm in my autopilot stage, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm becoming the person behind me. Get out of the way, bitch. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, gotta hurry. And my foot starts to, and I'm like, whoa.
I felt that before.
Okay. in everybody. This is why it's so important we keep this, the governing meridian, the central meridian. Why we keep them hooked up is because if you were in front of me, I would muscle test you. And if you had that nice and strong, people could throw shit and it wouldn't affect you. But if you had it down and somebody threw shit, not even at you, you'd be going, oh my God, and you won't even know. So energy is everywhere. It's not about being evil. It's about choosing, do I want to go there? The other day I was like, oh my God, I can't go uptown. I can't go uptown. And the next thing I know, I'm talking to somebody and they're like, oh, I just fear it. I don't like going uptown. I'm like, God bless it. I didn't know that I had just basically my emotions, my cells, my water, my immune system started to vibrate to be what? That emotion. And so I vibrated into that space and I fell for it. Now, if you can read things as emotions instead of blaming, understand you have a file system. You have to delete, start, and generalize all that information, and all that information goes into those files. You have to make a choice. But if you can begin to understand that everything's emotion and you don't have to take offense to it, oh my God, twang. Even when people are talking to you, they're programs. Some people just are programs and they have no idea they're doing it. And some people just relish, yeah, I got her good. You can see the difference when people don't know that they're doing things, and some people do intentionally. And a lot of times it's just with all emotions. And when my mind's good, but my body begins to hurt, I'll say, okay, wait a minute. My DNA is expressing itself based on the environment. Sometimes I'll look at the clock and I'm like, oh shit, it's 5 o'clock. This is just an example. Because at 5 o'clock, my ex used to come home and then he'd come through the door and he'd be a dickweed. My body was Pavlov. It's like, I'm the dog. This is what I'm trained to do. And here, this environment's great. Now, if I followed along all those old patterns, emotions, I'm going to place a filter over my husband. Now, both of him and I agreed that when we got married, we wrote it in our vows that we're going to see these filters for what they are and not put these on to each of us. So just begin to see everything as emotions. Do you need to believe? And listen to how you believe. When you hear your thoughts about that belief, or you pay attention to that 41 thoughts per minute, and that's why if you just take out a timer and you just sit with that and you're like, here's the feeling. If all of a sudden you're like, oh, somebody touched me, I'm mad. Is that fear or love? What did it activate? You see what I'm saying? You're ready to dive deeper now. But the one thing they want you to focus on is that you have to define what guilt is. You have to define what shame is. And you have to notice how it is like, it sits on the nerves. You have to know what readjust means. It's not the same as adapt. Okay, it's not the same. And you have to notice, and once you start to do this, then you can start working on the incompatibility. Because you are moving from, you're in a conflict, you don't know it. I mean, you do now, you're doing better at it. Which side's right? Both are right and both are wrong. You need the wisdom and you need to release that feels in order to take that wisdom with you. Because if you try to ignore it, stuff it, you're not going to use the wisdom to make that and create a new personality. So your loop at this point begins with the fact is that what does guilt do? Does it diminish your character? Does it, like an auto button, forces you to behave a certain way? And then when you do this, and I know your husband's going to be the one that's going to say something, and all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, that was a guilt. I want you to check in and say, what is it pushing me to do? What am I agreeing to do willfully? And because I'm such a good person, do I need a reset? Do I really need to be doing that? Did I train him to always do this? This sounds strange, But these are the questions that you begin to stare at. And then you're going to start noticing that you won't be on autopilot. And then you go back to autopilot. But if that guilt starts to eat away at you, you'll be able to hear why. You'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to know where it's stored. Because you're ready to take that next leap. But you're not going to be able to get a job that you really want because you don't know what that is.
Indecisive. Yes.
And indecisive is gallbladder, but it's also small intestine, because those two are the ones that help you create discernment. And see, when those two come into play, the small intestine is like, oh my God, it's going to take offense. Where's the love? But it also breaks down the food to define who you are. When it comes to the gallbladder, you'll go right into indecisiveness, because if I make a choice, then it's going to be wrong. But then if it does make a decision, it's like, I'm sticking to it. But it will be with judgment, not discernment. You are in the lion's gate. You are waking up because of the fact you're looking at one of your diamond points, and you are redefining your soul life as a human. And you're beginning to, it's not about hating anybody. It's just knowing you're done putting up with enough's enough. Hold on. I don't need to do that. Because you are noticing energy loss. Life force is still investing in it. Where every time you have to feel, oh God, I better do it. How much energy did it just take to invest that? And how much energy does it take to execute it and make sure that part stays alive? Okay, so they're telling me when you start to wake up and see it, your triple warmer, you're pretty good at catching when it's doing it. And you'll start noticing this probably the shoulder too. It has to do with the triple warmer. So you will start using R3S, because you'll be at that stage of, something, but you can't see it. And it's not quite shown to you, but you are getting the whisper. You're getting the body's message. And the more you start to feel that, there, and you pull that off, it's going to slowly uncover itself even further. And then you will begin to create a cosmic growth, as they're saying, because you don't have to let overwhelm or any of that be the decider. Because if you really look back at why you can't make decisions, you're afraid you're going to get yelled at. You're afraid you're going to get the guilt trip.
Yeah.
See, you know how to make decisions. I've seen April make decisions. Done. But it's having to defend yourself, because the little part of you says, they're right, you're wrong. And we have to get your power back. Okay?
Yeah. And it's back to chasing the disappointment too.
Yep.
I felt that today too, because I went to an interview today. I was like, oh, I don't want to get excited because I'm going to be disappointed.
L1D, you don't want to get your hopes up, because you know heartache. And so you would rather believe the fear instead of getting that feeling that you don't want your hopes let down. But that's just a habit. And that's because you're going to have to behave a certain way, and you're going to have to go through all that. And it's the dread, it's the story, it's the false realities. So
thank you. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Oh, I appreciate you, honey. Keep waking up. And I can totally see you in a new position someday. I just can't tell you what it is, but I know you're marvelous.
Yeah.
Bye, hon.
All right. Bye.
And you can make a major difference in your world. You certainly can. You certainly can. Oops. Now we're going to take it over to Jennifer. If I can get to the right screen, we will. Oh, look at all the love. I see all the love. Can you explain yes, readjust feels like? Yes, I can. So let me find Miss Jennifer real quick. Okay. There's a difference between in ego, you will readjust. Now, in just a natural aspect of readjusting, you're going to get hot, you'll take a blanket off. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about consciousness readjusting. And that is when the fear will come into play. And what happens is all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, they're going to get mad. You will hear this whole story before you start to readjust. You'll feel like, oh my God, and it could be just a filter, but you will readjust your behavior, your attitude, your joy, things you didn't want to do, all of a sudden you're doing, and you will readjust your life. You're supposed to have the pen. And you won't even, sometimes you won't even know you did it. Okay. Sometimes you won't even know you did it. And once you begin to understand that even further, okay, she's coming in. Once you understand that further, then you have to experience it. You can know it, but it's when you know it. It's the knowing on a spiritual level, not just an ego level, because if you know it on an ego level, you're just going to fire and wire, and you're going to keep lining yourself up to that reality and that algorithms and that shit. Again, use a tool. No matter what you do, if you're going to be thinking about it, use a darn tool. I fall asleep with this. Okay, something's on my mind, or my body's saying, I feel a little off. You will take, and your body will start to thank you, because you're going to be working together and creating a better life for yourself. So that readjust is very important to understand, because that means you are not connected to spirit. You're not connecting to being your higher self. You're starting to just go left brain, screw the right. You'll start going into disconnecting with spirit, because you got to hang outside yourself to protect yourself. And if you're holding on to anything so it doesn't ever happen again, that is going to be set in your GPS. And so you have no choice but to repeat again. And this is what we were investigating, but she's waking up, not just to remove the root cause, but the track that it laid and her thought pattern. She's starting to mature by noticing she's going from kindergarten into the next grade up and the next grade up. And when you do, you start creating this soul maturity in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual levels. It's just, you'll grow. Seeing things I've never deny. Okay, see. And it's, you have to notice the mindsets. There she is. There she is.
I was
Hello.
waiting for you. You were teaching, so I was waiting.
You're such a sweetie. Thank you.
Somebody had a question, so I was just chilling.
Oh, come on. I miss you. We would beep up and do our show together. I loved it. Okay. How can I help you?
Okay. So before we start, because
Yes.
it's so funny. So I got out my healing book. I didn't even know that you were doing live tonight. Like, I don't know. I don't even know what time and space is anymore. But like, so I got out my healing. Like, I don't know. So I got out my book because I have the homework from the other night, and I'm like, oh, I've been in my shit all week. I need to, like, can I please, are you ready to just, you have the assignment. So I did. I got out my book, and I'm like, and then I saw your husband post, and I was like, well, now I got 5 minutes. I got to heal. Like, because I want to, now I'm like, because now I'm ready, right? Like, so I did, so it's like cramming before class. I did my homework. So anyway, but I was going to do it anyway. But then, okay, so I'm watching the show.
I get to greater homework too, people.
So I'm watching the show, and I'm like, okay, so I got the reading, and like, I'm all set, and like my money amount had like an angel number in it. So I was like, all right, I'm jamming. This is cool. And then I'm watching, you know, my tabs and things. So this email popped up. So and I'm like, okay, I'll just check my. So I have blocked my father from my phone, my Facebook, my email. Another email popped up, I don't know, in the last 6 months. Like, it's just like the whack-a-weasel or whatever it's called.
Whack-a-mole.
I'm sorry, it sounds so callous because I'm talking about one of my parents, but like,
Okay.
that's just the way it is right now. So like, so he sent out this thing, and like, and I see this email address, and I'm like, who the? So it's somebody in his world responding all to some email that he sent out, and I'm like, whoa. know. I don't even, so I'm like, because when we do readings, everything is part of the reading, right? So like literally like I'm watching you work with April Sunflower. So and I'm like, okay, so like I'm on deck and I know, but like this email comes in like 5 minutes. I'm like, okay.
Did you
And
read it?
so it's like a mosquito or a gnat, like at this point, but it is one of the circles because it's not him directly, and that's what I'm healing. And when I was doing the healing, because it's on my dad shit, like when you were talking about, I just wrote down like the distorted timeline or something, or like false reality, and like I never thought about it in those terms. I never thought about it in those terms because now I can see the two little me's, like the pre-divorce and like then the wounded self. And so like, then I can like see like, okay, this part of like my authentic self is that true self. Like I'm bringing her into like this timeline, but like wounded self is like, don't leave me. So, but I never thought about it like in timelines, like, wait a minute. So I can just pull my shit out of that timeline?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, so I'm like,
Mhm.
so now I'm like, and I don't know if you've seen like the whole blues. I was going to post something because I know you watch maybe Blues Clues with your kids. And so like the host like did this new video, but like,
Yeah,
but
I saw it. Somebody else sent
I
it
gotta
to me.
start
Really must
crying.
know
Oh
about
my
speed.
God. He went up to college. Anyway, sorry, that's a distraction. But like it is, it's like Blues Clues, right?
Yep.
It's like, wait a minute. So now I'm onto something because like I know my twin flame and I are like, we're gonna do it.
All right. Yes. Now let's just let.
Now it's like
you got 6 minutes left. Come on, girl. All right, let's get back in line.
Okay.
I'm going to say word game, association, Marco,
Polo,
depression. Give it a name.
anxiety.
Oh no. Okay. Good. 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 Now think of a person. Oh, it doesn't start with a G.
I totally was gonna say that, but I thought I was gonna get wrong. No, I was gonna sit mom. Oh,
Yeah. Well, I had to use discretion.
anyway. Spoiler alert.
Now, when you go into depression, all you have to say, okay, you, and then say her name.
Okay.
Do you understand? Is your depression your best friend?
No, it's not. Like, I mean, like 2 or 3 years ago when I asked Spirit, like, I want to get to the root of my depression. So then it was like, then I went on this rabbit trail of like chasing anxiety and was like,
okay, so your wave was a rabbit trail. All right, I love it.
The chemtrail.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, but it was to figure out like, what is this anxiety?
All right, so now
like,
when we
look, I am because of it, how it started, like so I've been.
And we'll get there. We'll get there. Now you put false meaning into a story because you have a meta mirror and you have a story. You have the thing, and this sits inside your spine. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, it's your thoracic gate. So inside your middle of your back, or right around in there, wherever T8 sits, you have something that you call a chase going on. And I said, what are you chasing? I'm chasing my importance, damn it. Somebody took my importance, my expanded importance of self. They shut that down, bitch. No way. Okay, so I'm screaming. I'm hearing your story. And you're like, fine. I've learned helplessness. Yes, you will punish me if I don't do it. So I have this learned helplessness. You turn to your so-called parent to look for a particular support, and you were second best. Now, the email that came in, did you by chance read it? Because one of the two things I got was that, oh, I'm going to get blamed, or there's going to be a blaming going on, or there's going to be this diminishing of moral character. I don't know if you heard yourself before you looked at it.
I didn't know where we were going to go with this parent stuff, but I knew that this was going to, because now we're in it. Like now I'm back in that house.
Yep.
Like We are in it. We are clearing it. We're taking
Now
it
notice the
out. We are
habitual
on a
fear.
rescue mission. Like,
Yes.
but
Yes,
that,
grab her by the hand. Notice the habitual fear. This is habitual. It never stopped. It never stopped. There's always homework. There's always work. There's always this. There's always this. That's what they're
you know,
hollering.
oh, this is the email was about, so my dad would send out reading assignments like this, he would call it the weekly forum for his church so it was homework.
Oh my God, that's work.
Right? Like,
yes, because what your work, whatever it is, whatever work in a relationship, work in business, work, whatever the work is.
If I wasn't working,
work is.
If I wasn't working at that house, like idle hands or the devil's playground.
All right, you need to write that down.
Right, like there was always something. There was always some, like if I'm like, bitch, I'm on summer vacation.
Exactly. But notice how you defined work. So now, your career is going to have a connotation or bad, tainted spot on it because your association is work. I love it. Oh, no, that bitch is going to make me. You go right in that corner but you also know you can't complain. So you're going to be the second best. So relationships are work. You try to work with that relationship. Oh, come on, Jennifer, work with your family. And you're like, no, you did that when you were in the crib. You're like, no, that's what you did in the crib too. I remember that one.
As soon as I could.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, which finger works? Okay, so you have to break down the belief in work, but you got to first see it.
The belief in work.
Yes, because it diminishes who you are. Now, here's the other thing it does. It doesn't love you. You do all this extra work. It doesn't love you. You do all this extra effort and love for other people. They don't love you. Your job. Why is it? Where are my congregation? They don't love you. Do you understand? It's related. Okay, so right now, when work comes in, it's to blame you and diminish who you are. That when that email came in, it was kind of like work.
Oh, I know. My energy went out and I was like, I didn't even like authorize that payment, but I guess it's automatic. Like at this point.
Feel how vulnerable and robbed you felt.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just by opening. I knew it was something. I knew it wasn't spam. But it was.
Here's the thing that really gets you. You don't know your automatic response, and that is this. Silent brooding. And remember when we were sitting at my desk and I said, hey, Jen, how much do you like whining? Because you had your joy hidden in that one. But it's so much fun as we were drinking chocolate cocktails.
What I realized about the former denomination is that they taught me sarcasm. Because
that's what gets you joking too.
So that's what I've been telling people is that so I joined this one church this summer because it's going to be part of my process. But the congregation where I was worshiping, I've been telling people, I'm like, they taught me what nice people are like. They taught me what a church
parameters.
They taught me like what mission actually is. They taught me like who Christ was, because I don't know if this is public, but it is. So like the former people, it was sarcasm and nastiness, and it was fighting over piles of money. And if you got some money from somebody else for like your ministry or whatever, like everybody else did this to you. Like, how dare you? Like this is what I've been unraveling.
Jealousy.
This is what I've been unraveling, the toxicity. Like, this is what I was on a wave, but I've been unraveling this BS. Like,
wow. So
all that silent brooding, that's all I learned. Like,
okay, so let's go back to one of your family members that does the preaching. I'm not going to say who it is. Okay.
Yeah, because I have so many.
well, the one that's DNA approved,
Thank you.
closest to home. Okay. Notice the blame that followed this person and the suppression of having to put up with all those emotions, all of the shit show that they had to go through within the congregation. Do you remember the little things of embarrassment or or sarcastic talk about that person?
Because exactly, everybody liked to throw them under the bus.
Yes,
Under the bus.
Suppressed, and it was suppression.
And it wasn't until I was at a summer camp when I was an adult and we were in this discussion group together, and I looked over and I was like, do they know what they're talking about or what? Because I have not known that this person existed my whole life, because it has been that suppressed version. They were blamed, had to fight constantly, but like,
and think of the DNA,
but knew their stuff, right?
Right. Oh yeah, they know their stuff. But think of the epigenetics now. And remember, your DNA.
I'm coughing.
And the epigenetics of your family, the emotions that weren't able to get processed on, piggyback on top of this DNA, and you're supposed to heal that shit out.
Okay.
Now, you don't want to be thrown under the bus, yes?
Correct. I'm actually taking myself off the bus route, like.
Okay, but can you see?
like it's a lot of hard work, but I'm doing it.
Right, but you can see that you also need to heal this out so you don't take those emotional baggage with you to where you're going.
I'm gonna write epigenetics. I'm gonna come back to this video.
Yes, you're gonna have to. But
Yeah.
Notice how the apathy and the lack of emotion, and it's called
And the giving up, like the giving up. It's like,
yes,
come on, man. Like, come on, like
he taught you. Listen, this person, all these people, every single person, especially the one that you were with, taught you what to give up. Correct. Taught you to put up and adjust with. That's your life. You have no choice. Notice the belief. Feel the belief. Feel the belief.
The last time I was there was like 8 or 9 years ago. And it was like, when I walked through that front door, it was like, all my adulthood left.
Oh, absolutely.
I have no degrees. Like, any education is like gone. Like,
okay, now that's interesting. You reverted back to a particular age, which I would say about 2 years old. But when you got older, so you have something that was in the first household, and then when you went back to that household, you could feel there was always a curse, a punishment waiting, a seriousness of words of punishment waiting. They're saying that your 6-year-old began to learn this readjustment. That's all you've ever known. So that's all you know how to attract into your life. So it's that belief that that's all there is. And that's what they want you to understand, is that your identity, that it's the, what do they call that? I know you guys know this one. Hold on. Predisposition. But you do not have to be a victim of your own DNA. Now, with the epi marker, yes and no. It's a chance to see it and a chance to heal it and a chance to grow. Even with your own DNA, you do not, it's the environment that affects this. So you again get to wake up and notice how you're like, oh my God, listen to your excuses, listen to your reasons, listen. Just take a 2-minute sit with your 41 thoughts and listen to the content, to what your soul is asking you to heal. Because I know you can get drama. I know you can go into that because you're hiding your emotion, the joy, you're hiding it. Remember how we have to hide it in the dark? You're like plain sight, you ain't touching this. Well, now we got to take it and heal the shit so we can actually have our joy back again. Okay.
And that's what I felt going into this new church, is I've been telling people, and they've used this phrase before, but I feel like I'm going home to a place I've never been before. Like my little, the pre-divorce, when I woke that up with my shaman friend this summer, it's like, oh, that's where she wants to be. Okay, so we're gonna.
I want you to future pace it. I want you to use the golden lasso, and I want you to future pace it. not just pull it in, but I want you to future pace it from the age you are now. And then all of a sudden, in order for you, like Byron Katie talks about, you have to already believe it to see it. You believe you're going to get yelled at, then you'll see it. If you believed that you can get hurt, then you're going to see it. You understand, you already believe it. But if you can get to the end why of what you want, which is future pacing to the end why, that it is joy. And if you start pulling that in and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, but stop, put the rope down, heal that out. Track it if you must, but don't get lost in the shit. You don't need to be happy. Go fuck yourself. You don't want to do that. Ego likes to do that. So you just got to stop doing that one. Okay. Don't go too far. Just put it down, heal it. So as soon as you pick it up and you notice that it's negative, just listen to the content or the feel. And then notice that you can stop believing that way. You got to start believing you can stop believing that.
My epiphany today, as I was thinking of twin flame, as I was laying there and I'm thinking all these things that have happened over the last couple of years, and I'm like, wait a minute. There's no solution that's going to come from me thinking this.
Unless you do this.
Right. Like, I'm like, wait a minute. I can't. So I was like, get into your heart. I told myself, because I talked to myself because nobody else is in the apartment. So like,
you also need good advice. So
I was like, get into your heart. What does your heart know?
Because it's the truth test and get into it. Yes.
Right. So I had to, I'm like,
oh yeah.
So and I've told people, like, you can't think your way into heaven. And it's like, maybe I should believe that.
You walk your talk, preach it. Yes. Oh my God. All right. I do have to let you go, but you've got the knowledge now. One of the things you're going to have to do is you got to stop checking out. You're going to do R3D because you check once you start hearing the story again, you like whining, you like a little this, you like a little bit of, I hold my power here because I get to,
It's
but
an
you also check out.
because it's an addiction.
It's totally addiction, but it's also the way you check out from having to deal with it. So you create your own little drama over here, and then you start to put false meaning, creating false realities. And so you're over here living your life. It's kind of like a paradox in a way. So if you close that down and you take all of you to the alignment you want, because when people tell me that they believe this, and I'm like, is it true? Is it true? Is that what you really want? And all of a sudden, when they start to say, no, then what happens is you're going to line up to the life you want, not with the life that all these emotions are telling you.
Right. I'm sure twin flame is like, I never said any of that shit, right? Like,
oh, filthy. I'm assuming this is, because you have, yep. So you got to get in line with that. And remember, just remember this. When it came to my husband that I have now, I said, you have to leave. You can't be in my space until you heal your shit. I've got to close and heal my shit. And it took us 1.5 years. We had a lot of things to work on. And I remember 10,000 miles apart, I woke up and was like, shit, he healed his shit. Oh my God, he healed. It was like, ding, 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 ding. Am I ready? Yes, I'm ready. Okay. So once you want that little girl to grow up, that's all. And help her. She needs joy. Right now she's getting joy out of being a bitch, do or the jokes or this. Because remember, your joking used to bite.
It did.
And now, the way you're learning flippant talking and thinking, you don't need to have sarcasm, because what is that getting you? Let them be the program. What's that?
I said I fell into a sarcasm once. No, sorry, that's from the movie Trolls.
Yeah. Yes. So again, what life do you want? And you can be funny. We know that. I miss that. Anyway, I'll let you go and I'll talk to you later. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye. Okay. You guys can learn a lot from this. You really can. And it can make a world of difference for you. Mr. Kevin. He is up next. Now, you guys are learning from here. I mean, there is juicy tidbits all over the place. And I give this away freely because I really just want you guys to be happy. You understand? To be happy. Oh, I never, he goes. I always have to remember how he shows up with different names. There it is. Ah, got it. Okay. La 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 la. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Oh, look at you guys. You guys are good. Look at that. Good. Okay. So hang in there. Now remember, if you feel like you can't wait, then you can go and put yourself on the waiting list just by messaging me, and we will get you a timestamp. And when you can come back to the show, if you have to go, and you can then look at the timestamp, find it, or watch the whole show, whatever you choose, because my shows tend to linger longer. But usually you get a lot of tidbits and juicy stuff, and Spirit loves to ramble sometimes. Here we go. So just let you know, some people do pay more in advance. And so I can tell, so sometimes I ramble, sometimes I don't. Good night, Nancy. You'll get your 1 minute. I appreciate it. Oh, here he is. Ooh, Super Mario.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm mostly good. How are you?
Good. I hope you get your tube socks on.
Shit. Yeah.
It was a joke. It's a joke. Something
It took me a
earlier.
minute. Took me a minute. I've got my ankle socks on, but I can still do a little dance with them.
All right. What can I do to help you?
All right. So I'm experiencing something a little different. I'm allowing myself to do this at the suggestion of my therapist. He's been suggesting this for a while, but I've been avoiding it. And I decided to start doing it. And it's terrifying. I have begun to allow myself to experience fear, as opposed to going into full-on panic mode and getting up here or out there.
True. Okay.
Sitting with it and just observing it and like asking it questions, right? Kind of a thing.
Okay, good. Good.
So I get to feel it in my body. It's really scary. It's really, really scary. What I have gotten out of it is the ability to put names, when applicable, to certain voices.
Excellent.
So I'm like, oh, this is mom's narrative. This is dad's narrative. And the best part of it all is this is scared Kevin narrative. And it's always childhood Kevin. It's always young Kevin.
Quick question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So who was the abuser? If I said somebody that's like a grand, you would say?
Well, the father was always the immediate and most obvious abuser.
Okay.
Was the one that was the physical abuser and the verbal
Was
abuser.
there is, okay, so his mother, was she alive?
Oh, no, she's been dead for years.
Now, here's the one thing that's pointed out is there is a grandmother influence that was the like an abuser, which was words and emotions. And so only you can kind of guess whether or not it's true. But the way that this person has come across is that they are fully aware of when you want something done, you say it a certain way.
I think that was my maternal grandmother. I love her to death. It's the only one that I met.
Okay.
And she lived with us for some time, but she was a bitch in the backyard. As much as I love her.
Okay. Now. All right. Now, what she's telling me is that she had a seriousness, but it was a punishment. So here's the thing. There was like a curse. The way you perceived the energy, you knew that there was no way to cross that or stop that, or do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I will. So it's like this. One of my exes, he had acne, and there was no way I was going to call him pizza face. Everybody says, well, he calls you every name in the book. Why don't you call him a name? I will not do that. Okay. And it was part of a curse that's on me. All right. You do not say mean things. I was told with great seriousness that I will get a punishment. It followed me to the point when I was told, you do not beat people up. You do not hit him with the pan. Like I hit my sister in the head with the pan. Yeah, those saucepans are pretty good. And the only problem is that my mother had said, you do not hurt people even if they hurt you. So I'm like this much taller than the neighbor girl, and all I can feel is that I can't fight back. My mother told me I'm not allowed to. And I'm not supposed to have any fight back. Hence, your back, physical back, is that you can't talk back, you can't fight back. And so my body, my back has shown a lot of disturbances. Okay, I'm learning to have my voice. I'm learning not to be afraid to talk back. And it's not about the talk back in ego anymore. It's just like, yeah, I'm not playing with that. It's a whole different attitude with me. Now, the reason that she brings this up, what weren't you allowed to do? Just think about it. She says, oh, we dumbfounded him. No, we did not. You diminished who you were based on who you thought you had to be. Does that help?
Yes. It's funny. I came to this conclusion the other day. I'm going to use certain terminology. It may not be the best one, but it's what I can deal with right now. I always since an early toddler, and this repeats itself in my life, I've always had to not negotiate, but I've always had to manage appearances. Don't know if that makes any sense to you.
No, it does. Oh, it does.
Because I always, as a child, had to think ahead of the game. As early as the age of 3, again, and this is not to play victim for anybody who's listening, who's heard my story. This is just an acknowledgement. As early as the age of 3, I can remember my father beating my ass and or verbally abusing me. And he always spoke to myself and to my older brother as if we were cadets. As we were cadets, right?
Yeah, because you were not really human boy.
Right, exactly. So it was always having to learn, how do we present ourselves? What do we do? How do we talk? How do we negotiate? What can we, that thing, that ordeal. And that has translated into my life. And I'll take it really simple as medically, I've had to fabricate, I'll just say it. I had to tell one of my doctors, in order to get a colonoscopy, that I had uncles that had died from colon cancer, because they're like, you're too young, you're too young. And I was like, I don't think you get what I'm saying. Something's not right internally. This is not all just IBS.
Right.
And when a dear friend of mine who's a naturopath said, fabricate a lie, let them know that somebody in your family died of colon cancer, and watch how fast this changes the tune. Sure enough, and it did. And what did they discover? Which is common, you got gastritis. Oh, you had polyps in your intestine. We removed those. All of these things, but they were willing to let it go because, no, I'm in my mid-40s. I'm not too young. I'm not too young. But the point being is that I've always had to fabricate, alter. I've always had to create something in order to feel like I can be paid attention to, because doctors dismiss me, the medical profession dismisses me because I've been labeled with generalized anxiety disorder. So everything's he's just got anxiety, he's panicking. So dismissive by the medical community, and by my father, it was everything else. So
now here's a couple things that just shut up.
Okay, but I want to tell you this really quickly, if I may.
Yeah.
The reason that I'm bringing this up is not because I want to waddle in it.
Oh no.
I am doing steadily, daily, working towards rewriting this script.
Right. Now here's the thing. A couple things happen. You don't know how to really lie. Your body kicks back and punishes you for lying. Do you understand? It goes back to that curse I was saying. It was like, you can't act that way. You can't behave that way because there's going to be a punishment, and you can totally feel the punishment. You are stuck in a readjusted stage using your will against yourself to do what's according to the right thing based on other people's pride issues. All right. Now, you know what grudges feel when people hold a grudge. If you can feel that just for a second, where would you say it goes?
Chest, gut area.
Yep. And when I said, okay, when he feels this grudge, I said, where does it go really? And he says it goes in the gallbladder. Because you know that you're going to have to change your reality based on the fact that they are going to make you. So you jump ahead of time and you play the game of chess, as like Jennifer Margaret said. You're lying to yourself. You can't, because fear, the seriousness of the punishment, which is a curse, okay? It was said, it was done. And in your mind of your child little self is that, you know, if you don't do it, they're going to get hysterical and throw a tantrum until you be submissive.
And
now,
this translates into the workspace.
Yes, and this is why they said it has to do with pride. Now, as I'm looking, I said, your pride? They go, no, it's the pride of others that forces you to readjust. Now, they're not forcing you. It is this moment in time where you can't cross it. It's how you survived. Now, I need, I know that the alarm's going to ring, but I just want people to understand this right here. Okay. When you're younger, from time of conception up to the age of 7, you will do this one thing, and that is this. You will sit there and you will go, oh my God. And then you can't cope, handle, and deal. You can't self-regulate, you can't self-soothe, and nobody's there to help you. Nobody knows how to do it. No adult, no nothing. And they don't know how to do it. That gets put onto you. And then what happens is that you have to figure out on your own how to soothe yourself in order to survive. It won't make any lick of sense to the child. Okay, the child makes perfect sense. Yeah, I went from A to Z, back to Q, and over to R, and back to B. I got my answer. It ain't gonna make a lick of sense to us. But when they explain it, you're gonna go, huh, I would have never got that way. So that first moment of how you resolved it, that first moment, you can go from there and go, as you age, oh, I'm going to try this. Nope, frickin' didn't work. I'm going to go back to that. Nope, frickin' didn't work. And you will keep going and try to grow and but your body, your subconscious mind's number one job is to preserve the learnings, right? And they had learned something very specific until you teach something new, that it's going to take that first experience, that it saved your ass. And it will keep putting it in play. Because as you go out there, you haven't found a new way to do it because you believe in this one. You have a lot of life force in the way that you handled it. Mm-hmm. It's when we have to go back and talk to that little child that says, okay, I know that you were scared shitless, but you have to learn how to believe in yourself and give that opportunity for yourself to get into the situation where you can let go of the belief, like and it's in the knowing.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're getting ready, go ahead. Did it make sense?
It's interesting the way that you're wording that, because I was having a conversation with one of my child selves, because I feel like now I can identify them when they pop up. And I was saying just that to him, which was, with more of a question, but I asked, how do I retrain you? How do I teach you? How do I do? And this was just intuitively asking, how do I help you to help me? Because I'm not trying to get emotional, but I was like, I don't want to continue on like this. This
Right.
is not living. This is not living.
It
We
is-
all have our moments, right? We all have our moments, but
Yes.
I don't have a partner. I'm not with anybody. I do everything by myself for the most part here in New York. So I have a lot of time to be here. Lots of time to be here. So there are days where it's like, this is a lot. Sometimes it's just a lot. And so that's why I have therapy, and that's why I reach out to my therapist as well. But I just felt like I needed to ask you this. I needed to ask how do I go about this? And you're answering the question. So I appreciate
Okay,
it.
so I've got a question for you again.
Mhm.
Do you fear judgment?
Yes.
Okay. When you think of that statement, understand when somebody judges, when somebody judges, yes?
Mhm.
What's your first reaction? You got a twang of hurt, pain, pride issue. Where do you
Mhm,
go?
mhm. Ego, go into ego.
Okay.
Mhm.
So do you think that's actually just something I think you watched it. You were conditioned. Okay.
Mhm.
Here's one thing and let's just make sure you get this. If you're going to be alone in your head, duct tape that damn hand to your head.
I'm in the right place, New York. No one's gonna care.
Exactly. What are you doing? I'm a beacon of something. I don't know. You be an actor. You come up with something. But the point is that you don't need to fire and wire to keep that paradigm alive, to keep that alive. Your little self had part of its strategy to survive is to think that way. It needs to know that it can think something different. But when you get into that vibrational state, you won't realize it until way after the fact that you did it.
Yeah.
And you've then fired and wired, lay more tracks, and you're
And it's
fine.
some days it's hours. I had my therapist ask me, how long does this occupy your, how many hours of the day does this kind of thinking occupy? I said, sometimes it's the entire day. Sometimes it's nothing at all. Sometimes it's 20 minutes. But the days that are long days, that wipes me out the rest of the week.
Right. But notice the quality. If you can just say, okay, if I'm going to train my higher self to tell me what I'm doing, okay, I'm not willing to heal it yet because I'm getting something out of it. But if you can, like how I ended up doing it was recording.
Mhm.
And I heard what I said. I even took the camera and I did it in front of the camera because I needed to see the gestures. I needed to hear, I needed to see. And the content was not about what just happened. It was the impending doom of an uncertain outcome.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Because
Okay.
we've shared some experiences to some degree, and that's one of my biggest fear. I was asked to describe what my fear is, and I said it's impending doom.
Yep. Because it's going to lead to what? Heartache. And what does that curse do? The punishment. I don't want to be hurt. I don't want a heartache. I don't want to go there. And so you, again, as a child, you're doing your best to think, and that's what you did. You went into high beta and you thought nobody gave you tools. So you're going to turn to that little boy. And when you start to catch, oh shit, I'm doing it. Now the little boy wants to be heard. But if you can just begin to train yourself, talking to a machine, but then when you listen back to it, if you can talk in that machine and do this, then your little boy says he's willing to go to that next step. But if he's not, respect it, listen. And when you listen back, not in that frame of mind, put your hand on your head and you then can start to write down and listen. Now you already know it's about impending doom. So you can jump ahead and say, impending doom. Notice it's a real complete feeling because that child knew that at any moment something bad was going to happen.
When I feel this impending doom, I've noticed that my body is, when I have, again, because I haven't been diagnosed with sleep apnea, that I have apnea-like sensations. And I was giving myself a Reiki treatment the other evening because I started doing this again before going into I'm getting my gallbladder out next month. And I was in meditation, was just like, prepare your body for this. So I started doing a self Reiki, and I had some, some stuff bubbled up, and I was doing their self Reiki, and I had an apnea-like episode, and it terrorized me to the point I began to cry. And
Yes.
I realized I was then able to piece it. The sheer terror stopped me from continuing the Reiki, led me to cry, but this time I just sat with it. I was like, so just feel it, feel the terror, because this is going to be the only way that you're going to be able to work through this, because running away from it the way that you wanted to, but stopping the Reiki and going somewhere else, going for a run, is not going to help you. So I felt it, and it was then that I was able to connect when this surfacing, bubbling up terror, fear that I've been having issues with all my life needs to be addressed differently than you had. And it's not a bad thing. Listen, I've come a long way with your help, with my therapist help, with your help. And I'm glad that I'm at a point in life where I can acknowledge these things and say, hey, yo, because I
want
came
you
really
to
hard on
notice
myself.
right there. What I want you to notice is that you like to talk, and you can create a certain amount of energy that's going to emotionally move you. Now that you're learning to feel it to heal it, I want you to notice that the incompatibility, and when you get into incompatibility, that's where the heartache is, the pride. You don't want the relationship that's already broken to get any worse. Okay? They're showing me that you're willing to readjust so that they will stop that endangerment behavior. Okay. Now I asked about the terrifying, I asked about that, and they said, well, you really need to look at the fact is that he has an action button. Okay. And this is your safety go-to. And I said, so what is the trigger from the environment? The environment has the fear of being controlled, the fear of being. So step back, look at your environment. You're at work. You're at work. Remember, the environment's out here. You're doing your thing. I'm watching you. Well, if I go to do this, then they're going to go do this, and then I'm going to be bitching at this, and blah. And I said, well, what do you mean? And they said, just listen. So the other day I got up, I'm like, oh my God. And I had this idea, but I didn't want to disturb my husband. And so I got up and I thought, well, if I go in there, he's going to get mad. Now, first of all, is that true? No. Have I had an experience before? Yes. Have I borrowed it from before? Yes. Am I creating false meaning now? Yes. Am I creating a false reality? Yes. Could I take it to the 9th degree and make a fight with my husband in real time? Yes. So I had to back it up, and I realized that wasn't me. I had to see and hear how I had to prevent the fight before it even occurred, before it even existed, even if it was ever going to exist. So I had to learn. And I'm like, this needs to stop. This particular strategy of how I survive. And I sat there and I healed the doubt. And then I got up, took care of it. He was not even why, he didn't even know I got up. I saved an argument. I didn't need to do it. I put a filter. I made him the enemy. You have an enemy. You're not ready. But when you start to remove the enemy, you will start to remove the track of having to sit there and have an argument of who's going to win. And you're going to make sure you rehearse so you win. And then when they come in the room, you put the damn filter up and they're like, please. And when people do that, when somebody had me in their life, I'm like, I've never met you. How can I know what the next action is in our relationship if I've never been here? But I've been in your head. You've created all of these stories and you're punishing me for something that I didn't even know. I said, so back up the boat. How long have I been in your head? For at least 6 months. And you got mad because I didn't notice you when you popped on? I said, I didn't even know your name at the time. filters.
Mhm.
So if you're arguing because you know a past punishment, what do you need to do? You need to stop this in the tracks and say, holy shit, I do not need to create false meaning and create false reality. I need to understand I am trying to solve the problem that never got resolved. I couldn't stand up to this person. So now that's all I've been doing is trying to figure out how to stand up, how to get the pain gone, how to resolve and self-regulate and self-soothe that moment. This is why we use tools. This is why hope therapy, and you're putting your hand on your head and you're in your hells, it goes back to the chemical peptide that creates the vibration in the moment so that you can heal it out, so that you don't have to carry these stories, the flippant thinking, the flippant, talking and all of that. You don't have to, because you're resolving it right there. You're creating a butterfly effect within yourself, and your little self will be thankful for it.
Some deep shit.
It is. Now, when you're ready, you will take when you're ready, you can do L3S, and you can get out of the grudges, the habitual fear, and creating false realities.
Okay.
Grudges
L3S.
happen to be like top dog. So define it, ask spirit to show you. And when you're ready and you get a freaking fresh experience, get in there and heal it. And that is how you should be with the feeling.
Okay.
It's when you're healing it. Because
Gotcha.
that'll be when you're going to be doing two things at once. You get to sit with it. Oh my God. But when you're healing it, your innate wisdom heals it. It changes that key, vibration of that emotion, and it unlocks that key. And the cell can vibrate differently.
I'm really thankful for this advice, because although I felt I got somewhere with my therapist tonight, I knew that there was more that could be expanded upon.
Yeah, good. And thank you so much
Of course.
for coming on.
I'm just like kind of stunned in a good way, just like, wow, that's a lot.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Spirit, when they want to overwhelm you, they can overwhelm you, but they can also give you the motion that you're looking for so that you can have the strength and the courage to face it.
Because with all of this going through my head on a regular basis, there's a lot that I'm not intaking. There's a lot that I'm not hearing, right?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. It's that unconscious incompetent thing. But at the same time, I know you're hearing it. Now, you're willing to sit and feel it. But why fire and wire? Taking the next step further.
for sure, absolutely. That's why I jumped on.
All right. Yes. Next time I see you, tube socks. Woo, woo.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Brenda.
Talk to you
I'll
later.
check in with you. All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
That's funny. All right, people. All right. Anybody in the room that's new, you get 2 minutes. And if not, we're going to jump right over to my little sign. Or where'd it go? I lost it. Hello, where are you? There it is. Okay. The first person is going to be Patricia, Miss Patty. And then if there's anybody new in the room I haven't seen, then we'll go. Okay. Whew, here we go. Miss Patricia, Miss Patty. So there's an indifferent energy. And they're saying, pay attention to how you're feeling this indifference. And I said, is this yours? And they said, yes, you've come to a realization about, yeah, I can't be bothered or whatever. But they said but you're holding on to something very specific. And I says, can you tell me what it is? And they said, contempt. And see, if I let this go, then they're going to get away with it. If I let this go, then it's going to happen again. If I let this go, but what if, who would you be without that? And they said, when you're ready, you can start doing a little L2D, left wrist, second position D, and begin to listen to those thoughts, listen to that indifference, listen to it, because you're starting to face, well, I have to be that way. But if you begin to heal this, you're like, hold on, I don't have to feel like I have to be that way or forced to be that way. You're going to start removing those markers. those curses that stop you from behaving that way. You're like, and your own fear can cause you to stay there. So you can do it. And Crystal Allen. Okay. So Crystal Allen will be next. Punishment. Okay, this is all I hear. Overtime hopelessness, because I'm going to get punished. You also too have this line in the sand that's been drawn, and your body's like going, I'm incapable of crossing this, and there's nothing really here that's stopping me from crossing this. And then I'll say, okay, what is the hold? And they said it's awkward feeling. I really don't know how to be myself because I have been this other feeling for so long. And I said, how could you begin to heal this? And they said, well, I'm going to L2S it. So your left wrist, second position, nice and soft. And you're going to notice that in somehow your speech or the way things are, it has to do with rejecting something out of your reality. That can't be happening. No. Look it up. What does it look like to reject something out of your reality? How often do you do it? And then I want you to hold the L2D, okay? All right, I need my glasses. I can't see crap here. Oh, Brene Brown is just awesome, yes. Exactly. Get back to my thing. We have Nita. Miss Nita is going through some ascension energies. And one of the things that they're telling me is that they want you to look at the things that hold you in place, some type of form of self-abuse, and that there's an impending doom, impending doom. There's an impending, what am I feeling? Impending incompatibility, and you don't trust it. And so I can feel like, oh, I know I'm going to be incompatible. So you start to try to find it. And, oh yeah, I make it compatible, but remember the root of incompatibility is ready to start to be addressed. And they said, when you start to do R1D, right wrist, first position deep, begin to notice it has to do with self-imposed limitations. When somebody starts to yell, you're like, okay, fine, I'll do this, or no, I can't go there. Hey, would you like to go shopping today with me? No, my husband's gonna get mad. I mean, you think about what self-imposed, that was just an example. Think about those things, okay? And when you do, you're gonna L1S it. Ooh, it's so funny. It says asking for a friend. L1S it, asking. I don't know what that's about, because to me, I would say R1D for the self-imposed, you must have got 2. Okay. Now I'm just going through the list right now, and then it goes to Miranda. Miss Miranda, depressed. So they're asking you to look at how your depression and how you run from it. And they said, name it. But they're in the depression. There was this I hated this serious punishments. So you hated these curses, you hated this seriousness. And you notice that how lofty it is. And you know that you do not want to play this character anymore. And they're going back to when you're like 6 years old. And they said that in order to survive that moment, you did something towards yourself. And that was, you said, I cannot tolerate. And this is where it had not to do with the person that was doing the issue, but it definitely was, I'm looking over here. I can't tolerate you. You were looking not in the right direction, but you were looking. You were just saying, I can't tolerate. Now they want you to understand that your R1D of silent brooding about the actual person it was happening with. But then it created a behavior so you can just start blaming others when it should have been the person that you were having it with. Okay, Miss Kelly. All right, so Miss Kelly, oops, I'm like, all right, so that has something to do with scratching of the head, backing things over. What's going on? I don't know. Who done it? That my head diminished. I have to diminish. And the thing is this relationship of communication is you're supposed to be vulnerable. I have to diminish my character in order to have a relationship. Is that really the strategy? So they said, look at the strategy when you have to have relationships with the people you love. It's like you got to first start out with a little accusation, who's accusing, it has to go in a little ego. And then there's something about work, and then it says we have to blame, and then it goes on. And they said, just keep noticing that self-justification, and there's a panic, and then it always goes into cloudy thinking, and then you come out on the other end and you start to feel small. And so you're kind of doing a strategy. And they said to break the strategy loop, you have to look at what guilt tripping is. R3S is what you're going to do to start to release the guilt trip, because it's like the pin that's holding it together. Okay. Now we're going to go in, talk to Lena, Miss Lena. Spiritual fear. So they're saying that there's a certain amount of not enough information, because when ego comes in, it can stand as an arrogance to the information that comes in and creates a limitation so that you can't actually see enough information. So you'll get stuck here. So then you will go into spiritual, this fear. And when I said, kind of give me more information, they said, well, there's a certain amount of hopelessness about how it is tied to your life that has to do with a certain amount of, and they're showing me, I need to go to body talk. It's related to your parathyroid. Okay, so in the case of this parathyroid, they're saying there's a certain amount of changes. So I think you're hormonally going through some changes, and that's going to set things off, and it's going to create a different way to be. So I would tell you that you can hold the forehead, the hairline. You can hold flat part, do the round part, or the top part. You can do them individually. Okay, and after a few minutes you can do them, or you can grab hold and do the rooster crow, helping to balance some of these hormones. There's some type of hormone issue you're going through. Okay, so Nancy, Miss Nancy. Okay, so all right, go back here. They want you to notice that the anxiety kind of feels like it's sitting in your bladder, and it causes the will to not be free to do, because I need you to understand what a martyr does. So it's like you have to go endure certain things so that you can make a difference. And sometimes when we go through these languages of relationships, this has to do with, see, I just went through this. See, oh, see, you went through it too. There's something there. I'm not quite sure what it is. Okay. So it's like, but there's a certain program. And if you say, thank you, Spirit, for showing me, and it's like, when these programs start to go off, you forgot how to self-soothe. And this is where all of a sudden you have to go into readjusting in order to self-soothe. So that means you give up something that you want to do to make others self-soothe, or make the situation self-soothe. And therefore you get stuck in this pattern. I says, I'm going to say R2S because it's a right wrist, second position, soft, because it's a coercing. If you can feel how it pushes and forces you to behave. Miss Autumn, I'm having issues with my right hand. There's something going on with my arm. Now I'm going in, and they said they want me to pay attention to the fact that it has to do with the lung meridian. And that is, I don't even know that I put in self-limitations. And so I've grown, I'm breathing. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And all of a sudden it's like, I can't behave that way. So you've put it in there and says, I can't behave that way. I'm not going to behave that way. And so your body then starts to take and deliver that promise. And so then the body, the meridian literally causes that to act up, because it's like, I have to give up the expectation. And so then your body puts you in a position so that you really will let it go. And I said, is there any way to really help this? And they said, yes. You have to heal the fact that your heart was crushed. And so I would L1D, left wrist, first position deep, and just begin to notice that you felt your heart crushed. And then how you can't have confidence because your heart was crushed, and begin to measure that. And you will be happier when you start to face it, okay? Miss Teresa P. accused. Now, what's funny is because I'm hearing you in your head and you can talk about it, and I'm looking for it. I can't feel it, but there's like no sensation, but they're telling me that you have run for it for so long that maybe you need to stop. Because I don't know if they really are chasing you anymore. Just stop and feel. And they said a lot of it will be about, what about me? What about me? And that's what they said they want you to look at next. Because when they start to say, what about me? It's like a trigger effect and causes you to behave a certain way. And they said, you're ready to let this go. And R1D, right wrist, first position deep. Because what happens is that you will begin to overcompensate and you'll do more. But you also will physically be like having a rock in your shoe and you're walking and you're ow. And then if you take and you begin to walk that way. And then you take the stone out and you will still walk that way. And so you're still walking that way. Okay. All right, let's go to Miss Angel Ramirez. Angel. Petrified. And they want you to define that because you may not be aware of it, but it's about something to do with love. And there's a part of you that fights yourself. And I says, what do you mean fight yourself? Well, I think I'm just incompatible with a lot of people or something. I can feel it. And I said, all right. And he says, well, there's a certain amount of defensive energy that you misunderstand. And so that means there must be a filter somewhere. And when they said that they're saying your 4-year-old self knows that it had been here, done that, felt this, and ran that way. And when that happened, they said that you have a bad memory, not that you have a bad memory, but a memory that was felt bad. And they said that you're ready to start to address this, but you first have to notice how certain words were kept to keep you at home, to keep you from not exploring, to keep you around. They said, when you start to get this, you can start to do R1S. And I think that you're new. I'm just going to give you an extra minute because what they said, this has to do with a little bit of depression as well. And that is somebody, when you were growing up, was depressed or something, and you would feel that depression and those emotions would dump into your system. And then you would immediately start to feel deprived. When you begin to feel deprived, it started to linger with that, oh, this is the way it is. And so you started to abuse yourself, meaning, all right, I know this feeling. And so then you would apply it to other stuff. And then it would be you deprived yourself, but you didn't need to. They said that you've kind of not known the difference. And when things start to get overwhelming, then you would go into that routine that I have to do this. And it sits as a certain grief. And so you kind of wanted to identify with this person. So you kind of took on this particular feeling, if this makes any sense. And they said, when you're ready to start to let this go, they said, hold right wrist, first position deep. Okay. Now we're going to go on to Miss Amanda. Okay. So Amanda, they're telling me that you are so used to avoiding that I don't know if you can recognize the emotion of avoiding. Okay. They said, if you can begin to define avoiding, feel the energy of how to avoid, what's the language? Oh my God, she's over there. I just don't want to go over there. Or I don't want anybody to see me. They said, if you can start connecting those dots, then you'll start to notice how you can prevent yourself to go into the hysterical position. Because you know that if it keeps going that way, it's going to create the foundation to become unstable. And you're like, I don't want that. And so I said, what do you want to do? And they said L1S, because it's like, I got to do something. And I said, well, what do you want her to heal in that? And they said, just about what love is. And in this case, love is connected to depressed. That character that's depressed. And then, but with the new you have to redefine and make a new bonding relationship with love in a different way, whether it's with yourself or somebody. Oh, okay. Before I'm just reading something real quick, people. keep very close eye, and I was trying to, oh my goodness, what the hell? All right, so we're going to emotionally help you down, help you down. There's an emotional thing going on. All right, so to help you get, oh, no, see that, okay, I'm not, okay. All right, Spirit, what do you want her to do? Does she have to have this energy in order to do the next thing she's got to do, or can we help her so she can do the next phase? I can help you do the next phase. Okay, which means I need to find out where I put my chart. I sloppily messed up my charts. What was I doing? Bear with me, I've lost my charts. That ain't it. Oh, but there it is. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so the tumultuous thing that she's going through, there is all this about suspicion and love and issues. Okay, so the first thing they want you to do is they want you to get a magnet, and you're going to do small intestine here and here. And then you're going to take your magnet and do 12 times on both sides. Then you're going to rub it. Okay. Then after that, you're going to go over to the left side only and use your magnet over that too. And you're going to do the gallbladder point, which is right under the knuckle. Okay, right in that area. Just use that and then rub that point, left side only. Then you're going to do left side only and notice the guilt tripping. Focus on the guilt tripping and you're going to hold R3S. First, you're going to do R3S, get rid of the guilt tripping. Then you're going to go onto the back. Which one? Then you're going to go onto the back, and that's where you're going to use the magnet again, and then you're going to rub it. But first, you need to look in the hells of this, okay? Then they told me that if you look at you're trying to self-justify, you're trying to figure it out, and you're causing yourself to fret even further, hold L3S, left wrist, third position soft, and just sit there and be in that state, okay? Be in that state. If there's anything left, and they said that, yeah, because, wow, there's that suspicion. I can feel it. You feel like you got to have this inferiority, spirit, conflict. Oh, okay. So you should be able to hopefully get there, Amber. Okay. All right. So if there's anybody in the room, Lorraine, right? Okay. So Lorraine, here we go. I'm looking at an old program, but the file case is open and it's like, it's really long. And it's telling me that you know what lofty energy is. You know what lofty energy is. And with that, there's a certain amount of, oh, I have to be defensive. Oh, because you can feel it coming. And they said that if you can begin to notice that first part, you'll begin to notice the OMG. So they said left wrist, second position, nice and deep. And just kind of allow yourself to sit in the hells with your hand on your forehead. And they said, there's a certain amount I can hear is like tattling energy, because I'm now going back to 5 years old. And it's like, now you hear the seriousness of this emotions. It's punishment. And it literally sets you in your tracks. And it's like, I can't. So they said, again, L2D it. Because there's something about the OMG in that one. You've got it. Okay, if there's anybody else that wants a 1 minute, then open it up to the room and see who is left. All the people that have shared, your name is going into whatever I can see. You go, oh, there's your, wow, begin to heal that out. It goes into a treasure chest for a chance to win a 15-minute reading with me, but that is always at the top of the first of the month. And then all of those that have paid, your name goes into a drawing. So you have a chance to win a 30-minute free session with me off the air. Okay. Okay. I really believe that I've got it. Okay. Well, just wondering if she was the, oh, okay. So in this case, when you were 5, it has to do with laying down the law. And I said, this particular thing that I'm looking at, can you give me the preference? It feels more or less like it was some form of babysitter or something. Somebody was somebody watching you and care of you, because it Was there an animal involved as well? Because they're showing me that there was just a lot of negative energy and somebody just didn't like little girls. Or it could, well, okay, it could be because I just like, and I feel like they made mountains out of molehills. Their emotional shit got in the way, and it really was like very terrorizing for you. So I feel. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for having me here today. I will figure out that TikTok thing. Right now, I'm still just putting up my 1 to 3 minute stuff. Oh, yes, you did, Amber. You got a glimpse of what my worst fear may feel like. Yes. Do your best to get that out. You know, take good care of yourself. And thank you. And I love you all too. And it was so much fun to chat with you and be with you. So remember, the more you stick with me, you'll understand what I mean to resolve. You'll know exactly what to resolve. And when you start to evolve, you will begin to wake up even further. So then when you next time you'll learn how to heal it instead of deal with that crap. And then you can learn that you can heal that, and that. And you can allow yourself to feel it, to heal it. And when you're like, oh, I'm doubting, I'm going to grab a tool, I'm going to heal it out. And I'm going to be able to be more in charge of who I am. And you're going to feel great about it. And guess what? No matter what, if you need me, you can't get a hold of me, just call up onto the grid. Thank you, Spirit, for letting me have this energy. Thank you for, and I'm going to download this energy. Thank you for the safety, security, stability, serenity, sanity, space, and sereneness. Allow yourself to be bathed in that frequency, because you know what I always like to say? Stay blessed.